Hello and welcome to the Dandy DIY. I'm Elizabeth, and this is our third edition of 15 Things Poor People Waste Their Money On by Warren Buffett. This is the final 5 on that list of 15, and I am super pumped to share these with you. If you are gaining value from these videos, or if you have not seen the other 2 videos yet, be sure to check the description box down below, and at the end of this video there will be a block on the screen of the playlist. You're welcome to go over there and check those out. And any tips that you have that have helped you become debt-free along the way, be sure to share them in the comment box. I'm going to be pinning those so that when people come and view the channel and see that video, they can get assistance from you. That's your way of helping on these tips and saving money and getting debt-free. So let's get started. As my journey back 22 years ago, I decided I wanted to become debt-free. Warren Buffett came up with this list, I don't know when, but he speaks of it often. You'll see it on his seminars, books he's written, and things of interviews. These are truly a base that you can go by, and if you grab you a sheet of notebook paper, you can make notes and write these down and then put the tips with them. If you're not already implementing them, you might find 1 or 2 in there that you can also plug in. This is going to definitely fatten up your wallet, grow your bank account, and you are going to be relieved of stress. Suddenly, you're going to get closer to being debt-free and enjoying your life more versus borrowing from Peter to pay Paul and just strapped in that vicious cycle all the time. Let's get started. Number 11 is gambling and lottery tickets. This is so important and unique for someone who is trying to get debt-free or someone who is just trying to survive and savor their money. Lottery tickets or any type of gambling is the worst thing to do. And poor people or people with no money should not participate in any one of these events. I want to give you this little phrase that you've heard from wise men. Never bet on another man's game. Remember, it is a line to richen him, not you. And that idea of that average of who may or may not win, it's too large a stretch. 1 in a million, 1 in a billion, that is too far a stretch. And that means that many people also are participating in it. The chance of you winning is so minute. And if you did happen to win, bear in mind that if you haven't already trained and conditioned yourself in some way to be able to handle money, you will be soon out of the money you win. It does have to develop in you that skill and that habit of savoring your dollars and really truly teaching yourself and training yourself on governing really close the money that you have and preventing from loss of it and knowing what to do with it when you do have money. So you are in training, and if you are broke and struggling, this is the best training you'll ever get. It is the game of hard knocks, and you are going to come out a winner. You can't stay an underdog if you are practicing good habits. It's just inevitable. But if you are practicing a bad habit such as gambling and lottery tickets, you are already setting yourself up to fail. We don't want that disappointment and that discouragement. What's so funny is I see people every single day go into a convenience store, and rather than buying gasoline, they're buying lottery tickets. Rather than buying something that would benefit them. Most of the time in a convenience store, it truly is convenient. You will see these guys that have worked hard all day long. They are covered in mud and dirt. You can tell they have sweated most of their body onto their clothing. Everything is adhered to them. They're tired. They will roll in. They'll go back to the cooler. They'll grab either their sports drink, their beer, a soda, a water. They'll come up to the counter. They will get some kind of nab or snack, something that's not really good and nutritious, but quick, fast for them. And then they will spend $10, $20, $50 on lottery tickets out of their paycheck. That is madness. Absolute madness. You can't afford to gamble on another man's game and spend your money on those things that are going to pull you in a direction and you lose focus. You would be better to invest that money yourself. You can do that if you want to play your own little lottery ticket gambling game. If you are doing that on an average of every paycheck, I want you to do the math really, really quick. There are 52 weeks in a year. If you are spending $50 a week on that, you can already do the math in your head. That is $2,700 a year that you are spending on another man's game, gambling and lottery tickets. $2,700 in a CD that is yielding you 3.5 to 4.2% interest constantly and growing your account on that same money, you would be shocked. Sit down, do the math, pull up a calculator on Google, on your cell phone, and do the math on that compound of interest and what you're gaining from the same dollars. All I'm saying is broke people cannot be gambling and playing games. That is what it is. You're playing a game. You are gambling on the possibility. There's no guarantee that you're going to get that money. And you're willing to give it away. And that's what you're doing. You're buying a piece of paper, a little ticket that might happen 1 in a billion, 1 in a million. When it says X many million, that's how many chances you have, because that's how many people have bought a ticket. That's why that pot keeps going up, up, up. Don't fall for another man's game. Save your money. Don't waste it on gambling and lottery tickets. Put it into your own account. Buy your own ticket to a CD that is a certified document certificate yielding you interest that's coming to you. That is your money. You use it for you. Invest it in yourself. And if you're not disciplined enough to stop doing that and put it where it needs to go, you're always going to be broke. You're never going to get out of debt. You are gambling with your life. You're gambling with your retirement, your future, the chance of being debt-free and relief of stress to where you can truly enjoy yourself and not have to worry about anything, not owing anybody, and truly being a free agent. Don't waste your money. Don't be gambling using lottery tickets. There are so many other ways that you can invest those dollars. You would be better to invest your money in a small business and helping them grow so that you get some kind of percentage back. There are just so many other ways you can invest those dollars. Just consider it. That if you really want to give your money away, give it to you, yourself, and you. Invest in yourself. Benefit you. Pay off a debt and stop wasting your money on the possibility that could possibly someday, somewhere, somehow, that's a promise that can't be kept. It just there's no payoff for it. There's no end date, and you need something that's a guarantee that you're going to get your money back in return. That's why invest it in yourself. Put it in something that's going to give you that money back. And get debt free as quick as you can so that you can walk around with that relief and that knowing that you have security and you don't have to worry about anything. Don't owe anybody if you can. You're investing in you. Number 12 is smoking and tobacco products and vapes and things of that nature. Well, I currently vape. I gave up smoking cigarettes. I had been a smoker for 40-something years, and I set them aside in March and began vaping. And I have bled down, and I'm getting off the vape eventually. That is something that I've converted to. Once again, that is money going out the door. I'm spending less now than I was when I was smoking cigarettes. Let me give you a little further background. I am in North Carolina. I was raised in tobacco. All of my family members farmed tobacco and or worked for Reynolds Tobacco Company. We are a tobacco state. It's what made North Carolina. It is where everything originated from, even vapes and electric cigarettes in the beginning. So this is definitely one of those states. But when this became an inconvenience, it is no longer cool to smoke. And you can't smoke anywhere. There are a law that they have incorporated here. You can't be smoking in any kind of public place, hospitals, anywhere like that. And a lot of states are exercising that. Smoking's just not cool. And the cool thing about not smoking is feeling better. I will be honest with you. I had smoked for all those years. I had gotten all the way to not smoking in my home, not smoking in my business at all, ever, never, and ever. And I would smoke outside. And then that got to be inconvenient too. And it just seemed to just constantly be in my way. It's just like slowing me down. I wasn't even considering the money because to me that was my pleasure. It was something I did. It's what I wanted to do. So I didn't see that as, okay, people would try to use that as a motivation to get you to quit smoking. Is, oh, look at the money you would save. Look what you could do. You know, do the math. This is what this carton of cigarettes costing you. This is what you can do with the money. This is how much you're spending a month. Blah, blah, blah. That was not the thing for me because I truly enjoyed my cigarettes. I enjoyed smoking. It gave me pleasure. It was my thing. Having come from that background and knowing that the state was made that way, and the fact that most all of my family members worked in tobacco some way, shape, form, or fashion. The braces I wore, you know, going through high school, everything was being paid for off of tobacco. Everything, my food, you know, my shelter, everything came from farming and tobacco or someone working in the company. It was just always that, but it was not a big deal to me when I bought my cigarettes. It's something I wanted to do. I had to look more at how that was affecting my life, my health, and the things around me as well as the people around me, my children, grandchildren, animals, and everything that was being harmed by the same smoke that was harming me. And the potential for great health risk and all kinds of health issues was really truly confronting me more and more the older I got. And I could see the difference. I was able to compare and do comparison. That was a goal for me. When I finally made up my mind that's what I wanted to do, I just simply put it into play. But there are some people who need a little more encouragement and a little more help and adjustment along the way. But if you do not vape, don't start it. It is a habit, and it's something, a need you're going to have to fulfill constantly. This is not something that lasts forever. You're going to have to keep replenishing it. It gets used up. It is consumable. But if you can avoid doing that whatsoever, don't even start it. And if you are doing it, I encourage you to do the same as me. Go on the journey and begin tapering away from smoking. And if you can't cold turkey stop, convert over to vapes. If vape's not an option for you and you are not able to do that, there again, that's the first sign. Do away with it. Get away from it altogether. It is a lot of money that you would be freeing up. Even if you're buying the most cheapest pack of cigarettes, the cost of them is astronomical. I mean, you're still looking at, on the average carton per week, of $70. A cheap carton, you might be able to get some kind of cigarette, but you're still going to be paying about $20 every week, if not more. And depending on where you live and what state you're in, as to what that's going to cost you. I would simply encourage you, try to get out of that habit. And if you do not have that habit, please, please, please refrain. Do not start a habit. If you didn't vape before, you do not want to vape now. Any of those type of things are going to harm you in one shape, form, or fashion. It could be other health issues that I'm not even going to go into because it's such a vast list of things that could or couldn't, and some people do and some people don't, and it's just a very controversial on that. But the bottom line is, from someone who smoked for 42, 44 years, don't do it. Just do not do it. It's just another type of smoking. Just refrain and try to surpass that. At all possible, try to get away from it. And if you're already doing that, try to get yourself into an adjustment period to where you can switch over and convert and do away with all of it altogether. I am on that journey, and I hope you wish me luck, because I am continuing, and I truly have advanced very quickly since March of this year, 2024. We are now in September. I went from solid smoking to vaping to even minimizing the dosage amount of the vapes that I'm using, and eventually I will wean off of that and be done with it altogether. And I cannot tell you, I cannot even express to you or give it to you on this video. There's not enough time for me to tell you the biggest difference, how much better I feel, how good I feel, how much healthier I am. I do not get out of breath. I'm not winded. I can go longer. I have stamina to go further. I sleep. I do not cough and hack and all of these other things that went along with it. And my frequency in getting sick or getting a sinus infection or getting earaches, that is all a thing of the past. There's so many benefits I have gained from it. So I would encourage you, as someone who smoked for over 44 years, please, please, please give them up, get away from them, and benefit your life and your health. Number 13 is updates and or remodeling. So let me explain. With updates, we can truly get into this consumerism and get pulled in on updating too much or consuming too much. Once again, going back to what I've said in the past, if it's not broke, don't fix it. There are things that wear out. If you bought good quality to begin with, even that is going to wear down. But the constant need for updates is unnecessary. There are some times when we're updating too much. For example, if you have an on-the-counter microwave that you've been using and you want to buy another microwave, I want you to consider, if you are purchasing your home, if this is something that you can install over your stove. Think slowly and make that decision. Act on it slowly, ponder on it, and shop around. Instead of buying another microwave that's still going to be stuck on your countertop and taking up space, do the math and see how much more you would need to save up or to do in order to purchase one that is not only a microwave but also works as a convectional oven. Now, with that type of update, you are doing away with on-the-countertop appliances that are robbing you of your space. And you can do it all in an appliance that's larger, costs more, but it is going to last you longevity. It is going to be many, many years before you would ever have to replace it unless it just happened to kaput and break and give out. So when you're doing updates, if you already have a toaster oven that is doing the job for you, shopping secondhand goods is a better choice, and you can find places where they sell used items and shop for something. And if you're going to do an update, you can find something maybe a little more update than what you have, and at the same time save your money. This frequency of constantly updating, try to find something. If you just have to update, find something that's going to take the place of many appliances and free up your space. After all, we are decluttering and trying to get that stress and give ourselves more space to breathe in our home with less work in keeping it up. Buy quality if you're going to do it. This constant updating, constantly making changes, and just buying into everything that's told you is not necessary. If it works for your home and for you, that is the best choice. And the e-commerce and walking through Walmart or Best Buy and seeing something, or Sam's Club and thinking, I need an update. You can do an update just by doing some DIYs. Following the channel here, we do a lot of DIYs. And perhaps you will see something here to where you can take what you already had, flip it, update it, and give it a refresh. A little bit of paint goes a long way. I tell my children all the time, lipstick and rouge. That's all it's about, lipstick and rouge. You don't always have to tear out a wall or build a new room. Budget those things. If you are thinking wisely, poor people cannot afford to constantly update. Find something that works for you, stick with it. And a lot of times updates and remodelings cost you more in the long run because something's not quite jihad. It's seldom that you can just do a remodel and it turn out the way you can. It is better to take care of the home you have, maintain it, and care for it, and only budget for updates. And once you have all your money saved and you're able to make that move, then do it. If you get debt-free first, there are things you're going to have to replace and repair and do along the way. Sometimes, rather than updating, it just needs a repair or it just needs a refresh and some maintenance to bring it up to speed so that it's performing like it should. Don't fail to forget there are small engine repairs and technicians out there who are self-employed on top of that, who would really gladly come and refresh, do some kind of maintenance service, and clean up what you already have and repair it. They are repairable. And sometimes you can learn an education, a new skill right here on YouTube on how you can do it yourself. Just think and act slowly whenever you're considering remodeling. And I assure you, if you want to thicken up your wallet and grow your bank account, you've got to tighten that belt. Don't fix what isn't broke. Just maybe a little bit of lipstick and rouge. Number 14, high interest loans, payday loans, and lines of credit. You have got to get out from under those. Do away with any type of lines of credit. That is equivalent to a credit card. Get that paid off. If you are spending more than you can afford to pay with your regular budget and paycheck, you don't need to be exercising that. All you're doing is putting yourself in the poorhouse, keeping yourself in the poorhouse, and that is a vicious cycle. High interest loans. Whenever you start becoming debt-free and freeing up accounts, your credit score is going to grow. And that can give you an opportunity to switch out high interest loans for one that has a lesser interest rate, and perhaps you can pay it off quicker. Consolidating would be a better choice. The first thing is, don't do any of these. Don't go into debt when you can't afford it. You need to be able to budget and pay your bills and get to a point to where those are comfortable and you're getting them paid off really quick and freeing up your money. Stay away from any kind of paycheck loan. You are borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. And once you start that, it is a vicious cycle. You can't ever seem to get out from under it. So the whole idea is to get out of that as quickly as possible. Now, most poor people are wasting their money on those things because you're buying things you don't really need. You're overutilizing and exercising freedom and luxury way too much. You have to discipline yourself and put yourself in a position to learn how to control your spending habits and get a buckle down on what is coming in versus what is going out. And that is just a gaping wound. It is just running free, and you have got to get a bandage on it. You have got to tighten that thing down and get that from spilling over. You have to get control of it. And if you are doing lines of credit and you're doing payday loans, you're already putting yourself right back in a worse position than what you were prior to doing that. And it's just a vicious, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So you've got to pay those off. You've got to get out from under them. High interest loans, a lot of times when you're starting out and you're young, it's not unusual for you to end up with a high interest loan because, well, you want what you want it now, you're impatient, you don't want to save the money, and it's just part of youth. It's an immaturity thing, and sometimes you just have to learn it the hard way. Once again, the school of hard knocks. But as you have figured that out and you pay that off, you can then not get into that obligation. If you are in a high interest loan, do shop around. Keep your eye open all the time for offers that might be made, and just reconsider it. Keep paying it as quick as you can. Get out of it as quick as you can. But at the same time, go and talk to somebody, or, warm it over. Keep looking and shopping around to see if there's some kind of way that you can convert that loan into a better interest rate and get out from under it as quick as you can get it paid off at that point too. Additionally, you might be able to use some of your assets as, the lien holder can take that as an asset and give you a loan to consolidate all of that and get out from under those high interests and get out from under the payday loan and the lines of credit. Figure out what you need to do. That is where you truly need to do some thinking, do some math, and if you don't know how, perhaps you have a family member who is better equipped to help you through that adjustment as far as sitting down, talking to them, asking them what they did, what do they recommend, what do they suggest, how did they do it. Ask those empty, generic questions. If you had a friend that what would you suggest? These are things that you can do and go from there. But try to get out from under that and pay that debt as quick as possible. And whatever you do, don't even do it to begin with. If that interest rate is high, shop around. I assure you, there is somebody, if that person's willing to lend you money at that high an interest rate, there's someone else still willing to lend you money at a lesser rate. Also consider your financial institutions you're already involved in, your bank or credit union. Credit unions give better interest rates on loans in general. Perhaps there is a way that you can go that direction and consider that. Some way you may have some kind of assets that you can use for the loan and get you into a lower interest rate. Or take the asset that you have the high interest rate loan on and maybe it's gained equity and you can convert it into a lower interest rate. Something you can get paid off that's adjustable for your budget and get out from under that as quickly as possible. And of course, any avoidance, just avoid them altogether. Getting debt free to where you can pay cash for whatever it is you're purchasing is the optimum choice. Homes are not unusual for you to purchase, that you have to make payments, but paying a high interest rate on that makes it very uncomfortable. It just means that much longer you got to pay and that much more you have paid for it. So shop around and see if there's some way you can convert that too. Number 15 is bulk buying. I can agree with this bulk buying. For one, I am self-employed and run a business, and because there are products that I make that require containers and certain things that I want to put them in for sanitary reasons or aesthetic, you can really truly get in debt buying in bulk. With me being a small business, I learned early on other lessons in my life that helped me along the way. And it is not necessary to buy 48 containers if you're making an all-natural product that only requires 10 at a time per batch. And these have a short shelf life, so you make very small batches and very small quantity. When you start out and you're growing your business, you want to buy the smallest amount needed to cover your need. And then as you gain profitability, you can divert a percentage of that to make purchases that you can get a better savings deal to where you can actually make more profit by paying for the bulk in the beginning that will last a longer period of time at a cheaper price. But bulk buying these days is pretty commonplace. Consumerism is really large. People have Aldi's, Costco, Best Buy, and Sam's Club, just to name a few in my area. And people commonly go and they buy a bulk amount of stuff that they really, truly don't need. Food is one thing that we do consume, but if you do not have a proper place to store it for a longer period of time and it is not being consumed quickly, that gets wasted because it begins to depreciate and rot and mold, and it goes bad before it can get used. Bulk buying a big box of crackers when you may only use a pack of crackers or two in a month's period of time. These are things that truly don't make sense. If you are buying paper products such as paper plates and paper cups, forks, knives, spoons, things like that, those are things that if you are entertaining all the time, that would be beneficial to you. If you go camping and it's camping season, that'd be beneficial to you. If you live in a tighter quarters to where you're sharing a dorm room or something of that nature, I might could understand buying those paper products in bulk so that you can use them for a long period of time. If you are going to a home, one plate, one bowl, one cup, one fork, knife, spoon is sufficient, and you can wash that up with a small amount of soap and be done with it. TP, there are a lot of people who buy a lot of that, and if there is a way that you can save money buying the big package, that makes sense. That's going to be consumed, it's going to be used. But buying 2 quarts of blueberries, if you can and put up that blueberries and use that blueberry for syrup or jellies or some other way and you're consuming it, it makes sense to buy it in bulk. But if you don't eat that many blueberries and you don't eat that much lettuce or you don't eat that much sausage, these things that you're buying in bulk, these juices and drinks and things like that, there is no need for you to do that. You would come out budget friendly wise by looking and comparing apples to oranges. How much are you paying per each of that? Is it in your budget? If your budget only allows you to spend $150 and you just blew $30 of it on one item that you bought in bulk, you're not helping yourself. You're just putting yourself in the poorhouse. You're making your situation worse. And there is no need to do that. Are you buying a bulk of beans? Are you buying staple goods like sugars and flours and things that are staple goods that you can store for a long period of time? If your budget allows you to do that, and you do eventually consume it, and it can last a long period of time, that might be where bulk buying can benefit you. But if you are buying things in bulk that you just use a very little bit, or you burn out real quick and it doesn't get used up and some of it gets wasted, you're really truly throwing away dollars. You're actually just throwing your money away. You might as well set it on fire and burn it. Bulk buying is not always a good choice. Take it from someone who's raised 4 kids, who has a business of their own. I ran a coffee shop. I know what I'm talking about. There is no need for you to buy in bulk if those are not consumable goods that you use on a daily basis and use them up. You would be better to buy in small quantities that are being consumed, and it gives you more of a variety where you can buy different things versus all of one thing. And it just makes more sense. Buy what you need and savor those dollars to get you out of debt, relieve the stress, and take that off of you. And don't buy into the consumerism. Don't buy things that you don't need. If you do not need a big pack of Post-it notes, don't buy them. If you only need one pack of Post-it notes, and that little thing, it has 90 sheets, 45 sheets, and they last you a long period of time, that's all you need. Buy one at a time. Trust me, the money that you spent on that big pack that you're going to forget about, it's going to get buried under other things that you're consuming and you're using, and notepads and this and that and other. Buy what you need. Don't buy in bulk. There's no need to do that. It is just a waste of money. I hope that I've offered you some tips and information that can be of assistance to you and helped you to save some money, or some ideas on how you become debt-free by not doing some of these 15 things on Warren Buffett's list of what most poor people waste their money on. If you've enjoyed the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone you think would benefit. I really appreciate it. It helps my channel to grow. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It is free. And we're always doing budget-friendly, money-saving tips, decluttering, organizing, donating on this channel, along with DIYs as well. Be sure to leave your comments down below on some tips and things that you do to save money that will help someone who happens to view this video and be of service to them. Until the next DIY or budget-friendly tip, this is Elizabeth, and I'll be budgeting y'all.